We had one, I don't know why, I had one girl here in Thailand we sponsored for 12 years. She actually works for Compassion International in Mesod right now. I don't know, God planned that one. But I have this call, we go to the Philippines and we saw some great ministry. We got connected with one awesome missions team there. One of the Filipino men there, he's like a senior, and he walks out to the jungle where the headhunters are. He just walks out there. And he was one of the first to lead one of the chiefs of the headhunters to Christ. And then the other village that they were killing, they killed each other. He led that chief, and then those two chiefs' kids married. And then they became a Christian community. So that was one of his big ministries in the Philippines. It was absolutely amazing. But when I was in the Philippines, I really didn't have a connection there, and no lights flashed, or I didn't hear God's voice or anything, but there were some awesome things happening. My wife and I actually owned a Muay Thai kickboxing club for 12 years in America. I love the sport of Muay Thai. I love getting beat up. I don't know what it is. I love it. I'm crazy. I love that type of sport. And but I never wanted to go to Thailand. I knew the sport. I didn't really have that desire to go to Thailand. But one of my students was in Thailand when I was in the Philippines, and he said, "Hey, you're close to Thailand. I'm going to be in Thailand for like a month. Come see Thailand with me since you're a Thailand teacher that's never been to Thailand." I go, "Yeah, I should probably do that, huh?" So I came over, and one of the first places that we went, in fact, I was on Phi Island a week before the tsunami covered it. A lot of people thought that I had died because they knew that I was in South Thailand. But I wasn't there. I came back home. But I was on Ao Nang Beach, and I really knew nothing about Thailand. I didn't know about the area, or the statistics, or the people. I really didn't know anything about Thailand. I got to share the gospel with two Thais that actually understood my English, and I seen that their hearts were really open to the gospel. And in Ao Nang Gabi, it's actually 80% Muslim, 20% Buddhist, and 0 Christian. There's no Christian churches there. And for us Americans, it's real weird not to walk a block and not see a church. You could walk into the jungle and not see no church, no Christians, nowhere. So it was really different. And the environment there spiritually is really different. So I'm still waking up before the sun comes up, because I'm still on Western time, and I wake up early anyways. So I'm waking up like 3 or 4 in the morning. So I go to the beach and just walk there, and it's just so beautiful and quiet. I'm talking to God, and I say, "God, man, you gotta send missionaries to Thailand. There's nobody here," at least where I was at. And so I'm having a good time, and then he tells me, "I'm sending you." And I said, "Oh, you gotta talk to the boss, because she's not gonna be happy." Especially when we find out about the Thai language, it's 5 tones. Oh man, we're like, oh no. So, at that time, I was working as a police officer, and she was working in real estate. She was making a lot of money. I was making okay money. But she won a trip to anywhere in the world. So so later that year, we went back to Thailand, and then God said, "You guys are going to Thailand." And so in February 2005, I came, and then she sold everything that we had in America and came about 6 months later. And we also had a word from one of the missionaries that our missions should be called Muay Thai missions. Because you get real close to Thai people when you're beating them up. Where they're beating you up. It's kind of bad because the guy's this small and he still beats me up. And in the south, we're able to go into Muslim villages because of the sport of Muay Thai. And we've been reaching out to this one big Muslim village that has never had Christians there, ever. And we brought teams there, ministry teams, and just through God's miraculous steps, the Inman, one of the head guys of the Muslim village's sister, she's actually 32, she's a university professor. God had been talking to her, and she received Christ. And her friend received Christ. So it's been amazing. And then just 3 weeks ago, a couple weeks ago, we actually worked for Fairtex Muay Thai. Some of you guys know Kung Prim and Tata Young. We got hired by his father to come to Thailand. And he brought us over and sponsored us. Even though he's a devout Buddhist, he knew that we were going to do Christian missions. But one of the trainers at Fairtex in Pattaya, his name's Abhinand. Oh, we just fell in love with him. He's a great fighter. He beats me up all the time. But we just really got connected with him. And we didn't hear from him for about 2 years. Because we all left Fairtex. And then we reunited with him in Pattaya a couple months ago. And he received Christ. That's the first Muay Thai fighter that we've seen receive Christ. So that's our mission, Muay Thai missions. I wanted just to end with a little testimony. I just want to say it's been wonderful hanging out with you guys, like Tim was saying today. You can just feel God's presence in the body of Christ. And we are the church. No matter where we show up, when the church gets together, He shows up, and it's amazing. So Charles and Francis, actually we got connected with them, or we got actually connected here because Kun Rat, his dad is actually a part of this association. And Kun Rat was the first Thai white land ministry that we saw going to the south. And so we wanted to support the ministry in the south, so we hooked up with Kun Rat, and that's how we got hooked up with Charles and Francis. And this is the same story I've kind of told you guys already. I've had many amazing experiences with God here in Thailand. You know, you go to do something and you minister to somebody and God ministers to you and you're like, what the heck was that all about? You know, it's crazy. And the moral of that story is go minister, because you're going to get ministered too. Don't think you ain't got enough talent or whatever, you're not certified. I'm not certified in nothing. Like people try to call me pastor, and I go, no, you're not my pastor. I'm nobody, really. I have no credentials except for God's stamp on my forehead. But one of the amazing experiences that I had in Thailand was May 2006. May 2006. Was any of you in Bangkok in May 2006?